Alright, hello everybody, this is Dungeon Master Boba, back on the start screen of Resident Evil 7, and I'm here to give you my review after playing it and thinking about it for a little bit. Sorry the start screen is a bit more flashy, it just says press any button, but anyways, I guess we'll start off with the horror atmosphere of it, that whole atmosphere of everything. I think that's where the game did the best, would be its atmosphere. Um, the lighting was perfect, it had the tight corners and everything, and had it so that you would always be looking behind your back to make sure something didn't come get you, and it didn't have any jump scares really until I guess technically the ending could be qualified as a jump scare. But that's one thing about it that was really nice, is it was all the horror aspect came from the atmosphere and not cheap jump scares, which is really really nice. Also, the atmosphere is very reminiscent of Outlast and Evil Within and games like that. I mean, I haven't played Evil. I haven't played Outlast. I played Evil Within. I haven't played Outlast, but I've seen people play it, and I've played quite a bit of Evil Within. But the game feels a lot like those two games. With that being said, the game feels nothing like Resident Evil, though. Like, if you come in expecting to play a Resident Evil game, you're probably going to be disappointed. This is only like 20 minutes of gameplay, and it's just a playable trailer. So who knows? Maybe they'll change it in the end. But as of right now, I mean, they should be ashamed to call this Resident Evil. Really, I mean, not that it's a bad game. It's just not Resident Evil. Um, Also about the gameplay, there was no combat in this, which is alright for the trailer, but it's worrying for the main game. The main game tries to go the route of no combat, like Outlast, Amnesia, and stuff like that. Then it's probably going to end up being pretty bad, because Resident Evil has been famous for survival horror, all the way up until Resident Evil 5 and like the second disc of Resident Evil 4. I like the first disc of it, but the second disc is kind of actiony. But pretty much all the way up until then, it's had combat that was made around, ammo conservation, using certain items at certain situations, etc., and just, overall, um, trying to survive and avoid combat when it's unnecessary, and when you do go into combat, not waste supplies and etc. Like, I mean, on the old Resident Evil games, you would sit there, you find the RPG or something on Resident Evil 4, and you never use it because you're always scared that there's gonna be some boss that you're gonna have to fight. Then you get to a boss and you have to decide whether or not to use it on that boss or not. But if this game doesn't have combat, it's not gonna have the survival horror aspect. It's gonna have the annoying aspect of running away, and then maybe a few scares here and there, and then you get caught, and then you get upset after getting caught repetitively by an enemy and stuff, and it becomes a lot less scary and a lot more aggravating if you do get caught. I mean, it will work if you're good enough at the game that you don't get caught often enough to be aggravating, and then you might keep up that intensity. But for a modern game of any reasonable length, having you run from the enemy every 10 minutes, there's an enemy, the only way you can escape is by running, is going to be really annoying. So I hope they add at least rudimentary combat. I'm not talking about going over Resident Evil 5 or anything, but like a more updated and polished version of the older Resident Evil combat that's more fair and not as harsh, and they could make a really good balanced game, because like the older Resident Evil games, if we're being honest here, were terribly balanced. Like, the enemies were really overpowered in there, and the newer Resident Evil games is pretty much the opposite. Like, the player is really overpowered. So if they could strike a good balance between, you know, the enemies and their power level, and then giving you a good survival horror combat combined with this atmosphere, this could end up being like probably one of the best horror games out there. But like I said, it's kind of hard to call this game Resident Evil at this stage. Although this is very early in the development, so maybe they'll become more like Resident Evil as it goes on. But that's pretty much everything I had to say about it. If you guys have any questions or comments, you can comment down below and I'll answer you and give you my opinions on anything you have, or listen to your opinions, strike up some conversations down below. But anyways, this has been Dungeon Master Boba, signing off. Oh wait, one more thing. I'm probably going to do this let's try thing where we play demos of games more often. Like my next thing, I'm probably going to put the Final Fantasy 15 demo. But yeah, so I might do a new little series about trying out different demos. But anyways, this has been Boba signing off.